Welcome to One on One. I'm Greg Bassett, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. It's baseball season, which means Chris Bitters from our Delmarva Shorebirds is here. Welcome, Chris.
Greg, thanks for having me.
So you're the man of the hour. This is your time to shine this time of year.
Yeah, it's an exciting time of year with obviously Major League Baseball kicking off, and we're just getting rolling as well. So that means warm weather and fun nights at the ballpark are ahead.
Can't wait. Now, the Shorebirds lost their first game last night, unfortunately. They're down in Greenville, but they'll be home. What's the first home date?
We're home April 13th is opening day, so Thursday, April 13th, we're home for a 7-game homestand to start the season, and very excited to get going.
Yeah, so are you ready?
Yeah, we're close. We had our exhibition game against Salisbury University this past Tuesday, which is always a lot of fun.
Right.
Get out there and allow the guys to kind of get on the field and test run that, and as well as for us in the operational side to test run the building and make sure we're ready to go and find the kinks and have a few days to get them ironed out before opening day. So that all was very successful, and we're close, and we'll be ready for Thursday.
So that SU game, it was a nail biter.
Yeah. I mean, really, with the SU game, it's about the experience for everybody.
It was 15-1, but the pitcher for Salisbury held the Shorebirds, hitless for the first 2 innings?
Yeah, the first 2 innings was really competitive, and again, it's one of those events that's
right.
It's a lot of fun for the Salisbury guys to be able to play against us at the stadium, and it's great for our guys because at the spring training they play during the day.
Right.
While we started the game at 6, the first half of the game was in the light.
Right.
But by the time we got to the second half of the game, it was full stadium lights. So our guys get to work out under the lights because in the minor league season they're going to play under lights the entire time.
Right.
Majority of the time, I should say. So it's a great experience for the guys at SU. They're in the middle of their season, so they work their players around to make sure they had a game the next day, and we had travel the next day. So it's a fun exhibition game that we do every year.
How does the team travel?
We travel by bus. So we left Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. to head to Greenville, South Carolina. But we log about 13,000 miles a year by bus.
Wow.
We have a great bus by a local company all the way towards, but
right.
They do a great job for us. But it's not your average motor coach. It's got a little more things meant for long distance traveling in it that help the guys out. But yeah, it's a bus league, and it's a lot of you gotta have a lot of books and iPads and things to keep you occupied.
I remember Michael Jordan buying a bus for his team.
Did he when he was in Birmingham?
Yeah, the bus wasn't good enough, so he bought a big fancy bus.
Yeah, well, when you're Michael Jordan, you can do that.
Well, I think about that too. Not to get off track just too much, but Manny Machado here, he's going to sign a $100 million contract at some point. He could buy the Shorebirds and half of Delmarva if he wanted with that contract.
I'm assuming he could. I don't think he will. I don't know if that's his investment portfolio, but
he could buy the stadium, buy a bus, buy Comcast. He could buy anything with that.
Yeah, obviously, Manny was a lot of fun while he was here, and every day doing amazing stuff at the big league level. So.
Just incredible.
Yep.
That first game where he made that throw off his knee.
On opening day.
How do you throw? I can't imagine that.
Yeah, I mean, those are things, believe it or not, that, not that exact play per se, but things they work on. They spend a lot of time, there's a lot of time before the game that people don't see, where, different roving instructors are out there working with infielders, and they're hitting some wicked things at them and trying to prepare them for everything they may see in a game. So
right.
You don't sit there and make that play exactly in practice, but there's things like that are worked on.
Now, you mentioned lights. You've got some new lights.
Yeah, we put new stadium lights last year. We have a new video board is the big display.
Right, I was going to get to that. I went by there the other night. It was like late at night, like 9 o'clock. And the stadium was dark, but the board was on because you guys were working on the board, I guess.
Yep, we actually had to run it for 20 hours straight.
Okay.
To basically what it does is it tests the board just to make sure that it's going to be fully functional and there's no glitches within those 20 hours. So so we kicked it on the other night about 6 o'clock at night, finally got power to it and lit up, and it ran through your red, blue, green cycle for 20 hours straight, and it's looking great. We're very excited about that.
So tell me what the board is going to be able to do. It's huge. It's a huge board.
Yeah, it's 3 times larger than our last board. It's going to be able to, once we learn how to do everything, it's going to provide a whole new game experience for the fans. I mean, things that you expect going to a major league game, as well as to other current current 21st century ballparks. We're a little behind the times for a lot of years in that department, so we're very excited. You know, it's going to have player headshots, updated statistics. As the game happens, statistics will update in the system, and when a guy comes up to bat the second time, third time, those will all be updated on the board with his headshot, things of that nature, instant replays, crowd prompts, and all the other fan
So
engagement
there will be
stuff.
some instant replays?
Yeah, we have all the technology to do it. Now it was just a matter of learning how to do it. I mean, we know how to do it offline and when there's no pressure.
Right.
The big trick will be is with our crew. We have a great crew up there, but is being able to do it as we need to, you know, in game scenarios when you only have a very small window to get that instant replay dialed in and aired and then back to live game action. So that may take some growing on us, but what we're going to do is really try to walk before we run with the technology, and hopefully every experience the fans have will be a little bit more improved every time they come to the ballpark.
Yeah, that is a replay thing. You get used to it at the big stadiums. And it's amazing because we never had it for so long, and it was just fine. But really, it's great to have it. It will be great to have it at the Shorebirds. It really will.
Yeah, and that'll be things we can do offline, with video now and
Yeah.
recordings and things like that, highlight videos and just other things we can do promotionally that we've never really had the ability to do in the last decade. So, so that's very exciting. The board looks great. It's wonderful. It's even better in reality than what I had pictured when it's on paper and your drawings and all that. When they were finally putting it up and they were putting the last row up, we were all standing out there watching, and then we stayed late the other night to watch them actually kick it on for the first time. So
Yeah, when they put the first board in, I mean, that was a big deal 25 years ago.
22, yep.
22 years. But now, like, the TVs in our house are the same size as that board was.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's for the staff, and I think the fans from what we've had to where they're at now. And, that's the thing with technology and the challenges, it just grows so fast. It used to be that we had a 32-inch TV in our house. We thought we were pretty cool in the living room, and then all of a sudden now you're buying 55-inch TVs or entire room TVs. And so, so this will bring us into the 21st century of technology, and, it's a great board through Daktronics, and, it's going to give us all the bells and whistles we need.
And you put some advertising on that too?
Yeah, there'll be some advertising in it. We don't have a ton with the board just getting kind of detonated now. Really, our goal was to make sure that we get this thing working and running, and we didn't want to make any commitments that we couldn't keep, obviously, with regards to learning how to use it. But the big thing with the advertising with the board that we'll do is that we really don't want to just run commercials and things of that nature. We really want to do things with the board that are engage the fans.
Good.
So if it's going to be entertaining to the fans as well as help an advertiser or our brand out in our community, that's great. But if it's just running a 30-second TV commercial, that's not what we're going to do. We really want to use the board to help enhance the fan experience. So that mentality is going into everything we do with it.
Yeah, it's funny. Your advertisers, I feel like they're like my advertisers in that they're not advertising so much to get the distribution or maybe even the eyeballs, but it's because they believe in the product. They believe in what you guys are doing there with the Shorebirds, and they want to be a part of that.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
absolutely.
I get that feeling.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of advertisers. Obviously, they want impressions and return on investment.
It's a great community
and
feeling.
all those things, but also there is a community feel that their advertising, supporting us, helps us and allows us to do all the great things we do with our kids programs, with our school reading stuff, our summer programs, and a lot of the things we do and the donations we make and the numbers of those that we do. Their support, you may get them an outfield wall sign or a program ad or stuff on the video board or whatever they may have, but that support of the organization does allow us to do all the other great things we do in the community.
Yeah.
So.
Like when you go to Baltimore, the Sun has the clock, and the Sun should have the clock because that's what their role in the community is, to have that kind of endorsement of the team.
Right.
And the Purdue sign, I love the home thing with the blue Purdue sign at your at your stadium. It just makes me feel really good about being in Salisbury.
Yeah, and that you are right. I mean, people want to support this. They believe it's a good thing for the community, and we try to reciprocate that out there with the things we do with the number of appearances and Little League opening days and schools and hospitals and donations and all the things we try to do. And we try to really be a community-first organization.
Right. Staying with the stadium, you guys are also going to do like a catwalk?
So we put in all new seats this year.
Right.
So there's no more general admission seats; those are gone.
No more benches. We don't get to sit on the benches
no
anymore.
No more benches. You have every ticket is a reserved seat now. So
wow.
when you come to the game, whether you get there at 6 o'clock and you have a ticket already, or whether you got there, you've already have a ticket for the game at 7 o'clock, and you get there later, whatever it is, your seat will exist. Versus kind of a first come, first served basis on that second level. So that was phase one of the seating upgrades, and then our goal is for the 2018 season to have a decking system that kind of connects the ballpark in a 360 format and have a boardwalk-themed composite wood deck that will allow you to walk all the way around the ballpark to make it a little bit more mobile for those folks that have grandkids or young children that after a few innings may get a little restless. Now you can walk around, go to the kids' area, and actually take an entire lap around the ballpark without it running into a dead end.
How cool is that going to be?
Yeah, and that's the newest thing in ballparks.
Yeah.
And 20 years ago, it was kind of having luxury suites, and those are still important to every organization. But now it's kind of having these nesting areas where people can be social and then having
Right.
this ability just to move about. Whether it's people that want to get their Fitbit laps in or their steps in on a day, or again, kids that want to watch the game from a different perspective. Hang out in left field and catch a home run ball.
Right.
Things that never been able to be done before at Purdue Stadium. So.
Yeah, when I go to the Camden Yards, I do that. I always do the lap.
Yep.
And I usually eat out in left field or center field out there in the deck out there.
Yep.
Before the game. But you get connected to the whole thing and you see where your seat's going to be and all that. And it's cool to just take the whole stadium experience in.
Yeah, and that's where the goal is that make it a much more mobile stadium, that you'll have a seat inside the ballpark, within the bowl of the stadium, but you can just freely walk around this deck or go nest out with some buddies or friends that may have met up with you at the game that aren't
Right.
seated next to you. You guys can go hang out in the left field deck or wherever it may be to enjoy, a few innings or the entire game or whatever it may end up being.
So with all the big fancy seats, I'm sure you raise ticket prices really high.
They move a buck.
It's still the deal of a lifetime to
yeah.
go to those games.
Yeah, ticket prices actually went up a buck for our 2 lower level sections. And if you buy in advance, whether it's over the phone or online, same price. Our second level, which were the benches that now became seats, went up $2. But if you buy in advance or online, it's only a buck increase.
So it's about how much to go?
So it's going to range anywhere from $9 to $14 is
Right.
basically what you're looking at, is the price range on tickets.
It's still cheaper than a movie.
It's still cheaper than a movie, and that's, we compare ourselves to what our competition is, in terms of not just the marketing pricing. We don't judge our prices off it per se, but what does it cost to go to a movie? What does it cost to go out to a night of dinner? What does it cost to go do certain things in the community? And so we're really conscious of that. And our goal was to, make the one adjustment this year with the new seats, and obviously there's some other factors with labor costs and other things that continue to go up, and then set that and kind of not touch it for 4 or 5 years. They're set now, and let's forget about them for a handful of years, and then we'll look, 4 or 5 years down the road on where do we need to be with different costs that continue to go up. So.
Right. So what else is new out there?
The big things we talked about, the seats, the video board, obviously an entirely new team. Promotionally, we have a lot of great promotions we're doing. There's been a trend in the minor league world with regards to jerseys, and not just the minor league world, you see it in college football and all these places. But we started last year, so this year we'll be wearing a Maryland flag-style jersey on
good.
Thursdays.
Okay.
Actually, we'll wear it opening day as well, since it's the Thursday.
Right.
We'll be wearing that every Thursday throughout the year, and we're calling it our Maryland Pride Thursdays, and we'll look to have throughout the year, not every Thursday, but throughout the year, maybe have some local celebrity types from the state of Maryland or that have ties to Maryland out to the ballpark throughout a first pitch, meet and greet, things of that
Excellent.
nature. On Fridays, I'm rocking the orange now, and last year we started Orange Fridays where our players wear all orange jersey. This year we have an orange pinstripe jersey they'll wear, as well as we have a new hat they're going to wear on Fridays, and we encourage fans to wear orange apparel on Fridays as well.
Cool.
And if you need it, we definitely have it in the gift shop, but if you already got it, rock it out to the
Right.
ballpark. And that really started to catch on towards the end of the year last year. Really started to see the stands really fill out in the orange. We got our fireworks every Saturday, and we've got unique bobbleheads and other giveaways that we're doing that we really feel like our promotional schedule. And for the first time, we're doing some kids-only giveaways on some Sundays later in the season with some emoji T-shirts. The whole kid technology hip thing. So we're doing some former Shorebirds that are in the big leagues now with emoji T-shirts and doing them for the first 500 kids on select Sundays throughout the second half of the year.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I've got a good promotional schedule.
The thing about those bobbleheads that gets me, in the old days, they used to be like a combination of some Japanese person and the person it was supposed to depict. But now they look like the real person, finally. I don't know how that's changed.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, actually, is because we're doing three bobbleheads this year, and 2 of them are going to be what they call retro bobbleheads.
Okay.
So actually 2 of them are going to look like they used to look like back in the original days. Because we're doing another Manny Machado and Jonathan Scope set this year. And, we've done them in a few different ways over the years. And so we were like, what do we do this year to make these unique and different? And one of our guys at the office happened to had kind of the old school, more generic looking bobblehead that didn't look exactly like the player.
Right.
And so we said, well, let's go old school with this. And so we actually, the Manny Machado and Jonathan Scope bobbleheads are going to be more of a retro feel to them. But yeah, bobbleheads nowadays, obviously they're carving
real.
those out of
Yeah.
clay molds that we get lots of pictures of before they go to production. And then
Okay.
once you've got your clay mold done, you paint them, and then you approve the paint. And then once you're kind of all done with it, you approve the whole thing. But yeah, so the two we have actually are going to be retro-looking Manny and Scope bobbleheads this
Yeah,
year.
and it works because I had a friend who lives up in Baltimore, and she actually went on a round trip last year. She went to Norfolk, and then she came to Salisbury for some bobbleheads that she needed for her collection.
Yeah.
And so she really went out of her way to to really get the bobbleheads.
And that's the trick. I mean, bobbleheads, over probably 15 years ago, kind of came back as the hot new item, and everybody in the minor league world thought, okay, these would be a fad for 3 or 4 years, and they kind of continued, and then really the pressure's been on us as operators to figure out what's the new way to reimagine it, whether it's making them a themed character. Some people are doing like Star Wars, Manny Machado, or things of that nature, and building a whole
Right.
theme that around it. We haven't done any of that just yet, but different poses, different ways that they react. So this year we went with the kind of throwback retro bobblehead that we thought would be pretty cool for the fans.
When I was at the Daily Times, we sponsored the Frank Purdue bobblehead.
Okay, yep.
Like 15 years ago, and I gave all mine away. And I see on eBay now they're like $200-300.
Well, I'm rocking one in my office still, so I've got one there. I can't remember if it's the one because they did the one at the stadium with the ball in his hand, and I
Right.
think the company.
This is the one of him dressed in the work attire.
Yeah, work attire.
Yeah.
They did one like that with the ball in his hand, and then I think Purdue actually did one like that.
Yes, they
especially
did,
with
yeah.
the chicken in the hand.
Yeah.
I think is the
Yeah.
story I understand. So
Yeah, if you've got the box, it's worth like $200 or $300.
Yeah, I've
if you
got
don't
it.
have the box, it's not.
I've
it's
got
not
it
worth
locked
as
in the
much.
box in my office, so hopefully nobody's trying to that bad to get in there. But yeah.
The merry-go-round will be back. Everyone loves that.
Yep, that'll be back for at least one more year. We actually just bought another top for it. One of the storms
Good.
just damaged our top, so we have a new top being shipped to us here this week, actually.
And that's
that'll be
still
back.
$1.
It's still $1. Yep, all the kids' area stuff's still $1. To do the merry-go-round, we have a couple new inflatables out there. The new bounce house, which we've had before, and actually we haven't had a kind of a speed of pitch throwing machine for a while out there, so we actually have brought that back to the stadium as well. So the only thing removed is the basketball court, because eventually that area is going to get all remodified with regards to the new, again, walk-around deck system. So after this year, we'll have to see what we reimagine for out there, but for this year, that's what we have programmed.
I heard talk of maybe adding some seats out there in left field.
It's not really not going to be seating. It'll be seating, but not.
I know the kids loved to run out there on the hill when the balls go out there.
The goal with the hill is actually going to be twofold, and we'll see how it all works out. Is that our goal is to move the bullpens off the field, as you see at a lot of parks,
Right.
and then design the berm and a walking path that allows you to sit, stand, and you can actually watch over the bullpen guys as they're doing their thing.
That's cool.
And do that, so you can sit out in the berm, and then also have the seating area out there that'll be open seating. Not a ticketed seat per se at this point, at least is the plan. And then have each of the bullpens actually moved off the fields and kind of cut out into a notched out area within the berm and left. And then we don't really use, there's a berm and right beyond the picnic deck that we really don't use.
Right.
But is to be able to create that as a space that you can just go hang out and watch the guys warm up in the bullpen. And again, really have a lot of vantage points to check out a ball game over your 2.5, 3 hours.
I actually like the bullpens on the field because it adds to the drama when there's some hot shots down there.
Yeah, that's kind of why we need to move them off. I mean, a lot of teams do have them on the field, both minor and major league. But
You watch this guy scramble.
yeah, you watch
kinda,
the bullpen guys
yeah.
scramble a little bit. So that's part of the goal is just some player safety and outfielders running towards the bullpen. Obviously, running up the mound to try and make a catch, things of that nature is trying to add some levels of that for them. So
Now, I am really disappointed because the one object that I used to spend so much time apologizing for with people I would take to the game is gone now. The rusted water tank is
Yeah.
gone.
water tower's gone. Very appreciative of that. It's been a
So where did it go, and what have you done to replace it?
there's nothing. It wasn't needed. We're very appreciative it's gone.
When the stadium was built, there was no water out there, so that, yeah.
Yeah, so basically that tank originally was fire suppression system.
Right.
When the stadium was first built, there was no city water sewer
Yeah.
lines, so it was all well and septic. So they had to have that was tied into the fire suppression system. So thankfully, with our partnership in Wycomico County and the planned upgrades for the stadium was to possibly remove that because it didn't really serve a purpose, and the cost to remove it was dramatically less than the cost to try to refurbish something
Right.
that you weren't using. So I'm very glad it's gone. A lot of people have noticed that they come by the ballpark. And so it took about a day to get it out of there.
Yeah.
A local company came in, hooked it up with a crane, took it all out in one fell swoop, one piece.
Yeah.
Never broke it down, just unbolted it, cut the bolts off, took it out. And so now we have a pad out there actually that, again, we can maybe reimagine some opportunities to reuse that pad for something down the road. But right now it's just a pad of concrete out there. But yeah, it's definitely something that is addition by subtraction. So
Now the team is different. I got kind of connected to the team last year, so I knew a lot of the guys, and I would root for them. But a lot of our guys are gone.
yeah, we have, I think, which is the goal.
That's the whole point. I
Yeah, that's the whole
understand that.
point.
Yeah.
It's kind of like school.
Right.
If you're a teacher,
People
and you
graduate.
If you have a teacher and you're in
Yeah.
third grade and you
Yeah.
you have more
Yeah.
kids in your class, then something's
But I
wrong.
loved
But,
Ryan Mountcastle. I loved a lot of those guys. I was just big fans. And
Yep. Most of those guys are up in Frederick now.
Right.
Cedric Mullins, one of our outfielders, actually in Bowie. He skipped high A and is in Bowie, and he actually went, I think, 3 for 3 last night in a home run in his first AA game.
wow.
DJ Stewart also is in Bowie. But yeah, I think we have 6 returning guys, most of them pitchers that have kind of spent a little bit of time here last year. A lot of times we get those guys to come at the end of the season, and then they take they just come up for a few games. So it's pretty much a whole new crop of guys, and I haven't really got to know them yet. They've only met down 2 days before we left to head to Greenville, so I don't know a whole lot about them in terms of their personalities. I mean, the one kind of name that was recognizable is Palmero, our first baseman.
Right, Preston Palmero.
Yep.
Yeah.
His dad obviously had a pretty good big league career.
Yeah. Some things went wrong there at the end, but yeah.
Yeah. So
We're not going to punish Preston for that.
Yeah. So he's playing first base for us. But gosh, I mean, we have a new crop of guys, which is the fun of minor league baseball and in sports as a whole is that every year it's a whole new thing, and you get to meet 25, 30 new guys and become part of the family. So
Yeah. So I don't believe that Frederick is really that much better than us. When they get promoted to Frederick, is it really better? Because we play Frederick.
well. I mean, we don't play Frederick in our league. They're the high A affiliate.
I thought we
We're
played Frederick.
No.
Okay. Did we used to play Frederick?
Probably what you may recall is probably about 20 years ago, teams could have 2 teams in the same league.
Okay.
And so there wasn't really a big difference between high A and low A. There was always on paper differential. These players in high A, these players in low A.
Right.
So one of the teams I used to work for in the California League, San Jose was the San Francisco Giants high A team, and the Bakersfield team was their low A team. They played in the same league and they play each other. So that did happen about 20 years ago. And then as some minor league baseball structure continued to develop, is every team had to have one team at every classification and only one team per league. So
Gotcha.
there's not a huge difference per se. Usually what will happen is that in low A, most teams will have their younger college guys or high school guys. So that's what you'll see a lot in Delmarva.
Right.
And then Frederick will be your guys that maybe have spent 3 years at a big-time college program that are pretty well advanced, and you'll see that. So your second-year players will go to Frederick, second, third-year players will go to Frederick, or your really advanced college guys like a Matt Wieters.
Right.
When he graduated, coming to Delmarva wouldn't have been fruitful for him.
Right.
So he went right to Frederick, was there for a period of time, went right to Bowie. So
Is there still a Hagerstown?
Hagerstown is the Nationals affiliate in
Okay.
our league. So
All right.
yeah, they're the Washington Nationals affiliate in our league.
So did Frederick sort of become Hagerstown for the Orioles? Or
Gosh.
was it on that level?
I don't really know. It might have been. I mean, I know there was something there, but that was before my time.
Right. Orioles, good franchise to be attached to.
Absolutely. They're great partners. They really are in terms of the things they do both on and off the field with us. We work with a gentleman named Kate Qualls and Brian Graham, who's in the player development department, but we get to see Dan Duquette on a regular basis, and as well as Buck. I mean, those guys know what's going on.
He comes down all the time.
Those guys know what's going on at every level. And
Yeah.
if they're off or whatever, they may pop down to a stadium and see live what's going on. But between video footage and all those other things, I mean, they're really in tune to what's going on at the minor level. And they want to be great partners both in the community as well as on the field. Obviously, the goal is to develop players to get to the big league level. Is the first priority. We want to win some games as well. But from a community efforts, they really support us in helping the players get out in the community, go on appearances, and all the things we try to do every summer. So really good relationship.
Yeah, no, a couple of years ago during the All-Star break, Buck gets 3 days off. He was down here for games. I'm like, you only get 3 days off? You're going to go to Salisbury and watch
Yeah.
baseball? But that's how they are. That's how they're wired.
Yeah, they are wired that way. And I remember that day you're talking about. Buck
Yeah.
sat down there and he actually signed autographs all game
talked to
long,
everybody.
Too. Yeah,
Yeah.
And he told me he doesn't mind doing it at all, loves it, and especially when he's out in this setting. I think a little bit differently at Baltimore when he's he's in his work mode fully at Baltimore when he's coming down to Delmarva. He's working to watch some of the guys, but a little more casual. But he was great when he came down, like you said, for the game while the All-Star break. But yeah, I mean, those guys are wired to know what's going on, and at the end of the day, it's about trying to win games at the big league level.
Yeah, he confronted my son because my son had given up. The Orioles were so bad for so long, and he had switched over to Boston because he liked John Lester's necklace, I think, or something
right.
like that. And Buck's like, "What the heck? You can't be a Boston fan down here. You got to, And he's with his friends who are both huge Oriole fans. And he's like, "All right, I'm back with the Orioles." And then the Orioles started winning.
Right, and all of a sudden the Orioles are winning again. And
But just the idea that my son's talking to Buck and telling me he's a Red Sox fan, it just horrifies me.
right. Yep, absolutely.
Like if I told that to Earl Weaver, he'd hit you.
Yeah, no, I mean Buck and Dan Duquette and the whole crew up there in
Yeah.
Baltimore. I mean, they're tremendous assets to be a part of, and good people that really have a great relationship with all their affiliates.
So there's some excitement coming in May. We've got some kind of a player who used to play football who's coming.
Yeah, Heisman Trophy winner, some other things like that.
Gets a lot of attention.
Yeah, gets a lot of attention. Went 1 for 5 yesterday. That one happened to be his first at bat.
And who is he?
Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow is coming to Salisbury, in theory.
In theory, yep. I preface that and try to
Right.
make sure that everybody we've talked to at least puts it out that way.
Right.
But, so Tim Tebow was assigned to the Columbia Fireflies, which is a Mets affiliate in the South Atlantic League, which is the league we play in. So they're scheduled to play May 10th through 12th. When it was first announced, tickets went very quickly. I mean, we still have plenty of tickets available, but just from a random day in March and looking at your online ticket sales, for some random games in May,
Right.
you connect those two dots,
Right.
and it was like, wait a minute here. And actually, I saw it on social media, I think, before we had put anything out. And so I asked my ticket guys, hey, go look in the system and see what's going on May 10th through 12th. And they didn't know why I was asking that. And we had sold like 50 tickets on this random morning for each of those games.
Right.
And they're like, why did we sell 50 tickets for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, in May when it's
Right.
March whatever day, 20th,
Right.
and or whatever day it was announced. And anyway, so so it's been good. Ticket sales have been great. I mean, there's plenty available still, but with the excitement of last night, with him, getting started officially, there's been more excitement today already. So.
And he's a great story. I mean, for what he lacks in physical ability, he's got heart, and he tries so hard.
And there's, I think he's a polarizing figure. You
Yeah.
know, I think he's the 50-50 guy. 50% of the people absolutely love him, and 50% of them, find some fault in him, I guess you would say. And that's for everybody's own opinion. And, I mean, at the end of the day, I think he is working hard. He's not just doing this as a publicity stunt. I think he is trying, and he's putting in the grind. I mean,
Yeah.
He's going to be riding that bus, 8 hours plus, whatever it is, from Columbia, South
Maybe
Carolina.
he'll buy him a bus.
Maybe he'll buy him a bus, but he's going to be making that run from Columbia to South Carolina to Salisbury, Maryland, and
Right.
staying in our same places the rest of the guys do. So it's not like there's any difference really going on. I mean, the only difference is you just got to probably heighten security and some other things to make sure that the operation runs well. So.
Okay, give me your pitch. What's the website? Where do I go if I want to buy a ticket?
The biggest thing is head to theshorebirds.com. Obviously, you can buy tickets there 24 hours a day.
It's a fun site. There's a lot of news. There's calendar items. There's lots of stuff.
Yeah.
All the daily specials are there. Like the Friday night thing with the beer. The
Yep.
discounted beer is my favorite.
That's a lot of people's favorite. Summertime and
Yeah.
all season long. I mean, we have our $2 Mondays where it's $2 tickets,
Right.
$2 hot dogs, and $2 sodas for our upper reserve seats.
The fireworks schedule's on there.
Fireworks are on there. I think we got 13 or 15 shows this year, somewhere
Yeah.
in that neighborhood. All of our promotional nights. You can get game information, listen live. You can pretty much get all your Shorebird content and information right there. And like I said, the big thing for us, particularly with the new reserve section upstairs, is that we're really reminding people, because we've had this technology for a while, is that you can buy tickets online at midnight in your bed if you like.
Right.
And if you have a printer at home, print them at home. If not, you can select the will call option to leave them at the stadium. But or you can select your mobile phone option. We got scanners. Really try to make it convenient for people and today's technology to be able to access what they need.
Right. The games are on the radio on 960 AM.
Yep, you can listen on over the the terrestrial radio, I guess
Right,
you call it,
right.
in your car at home,
Yeah.
or you can grab your iPad, iPhone, or
And they do a good job. Is it a new announcer this year?
it is Will DeBoer.
Okay.
He also does UMES Hawks basketball.
Okay.
We have a relationship with them where we found a situation where to provide radio announcers opportunities to be on the air a lot of times throughout the year. So,
Right.
So he did a great job last night in the call.
He
I
did.
thought.
He made some storylines out of some stuff, and
Yep.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yep, he's got a unique personality. He reads a lot and watches a lot of movies, so he's got a lot of things to tie into kind of outside of the baseball world life. But I thought he did a great job on the call last night in terms of the game and providing content, some of the things I listened for. And
Yeah.
he's got a great personality, and I think the fans will enjoy listening to him all year long. So.
He's Chris Bitters. He's the man of the hour right here in Salisbury. His team, the Delmarva Shorebirds, will be back here next week to open. It's a lot of excitement, and it's a great time to be in Salisbury. Thanks, Chris,
Thank
for
you,
being
Greg.
here.
Appreciate it.
I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. Another edition of One on One right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and One on One. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.